Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. India Justice Report highlights chronic under-resourcing of India's justice institutions. Supreme Court issues guidelines to address child trafficking. Startup selected under NQM launches one of India's most powerful quantum computers. In retaliation to US tariffs, China restricts exports of rare earth elements. World Health Organization member states conclude negotiations on draft pandemic agreement. We bring your attention to some concerning revelations from the latest India Justice Report, a report that shines a light on the chronic under-resourcing of India's justice institutions. So, what exactly does the report say? Let's break it down, one pillar at a time. First up, the police. The report highlights that our police force continues to struggle with manpower shortages. There is a 23% vacancy in the force and, perhaps even more worrying, over 50% of forensic staff positions remain unfilled across the country. Now, let's talk about representation. Nationally, only 8% of senior police officers are women. Not a single state or union territory meets the reserved quotas for women in the police, despite the central government setting a 33% benchmark back in 2009. Moving on to the judiciary. India currently has just 15 judges per 10 lakh population, falling far short of the 50 judges per 10 lakh population recommended by the Law Commission of India back in 1987. In terms of diversity, the picture remains bleak. Women make up 38% of judges in the lower judiciary, but only 14% in high courts. And when it comes to representation from other vulnerable sections of society, only Karnataka meets the quota for SC, ST and OBC judges. Let's now take a look at the state of prisons. 30% of prison staff positions are lying vacant nationwide. To add to that, prison occupancy has soared to 131%, with under trials making up a staggering 76% of the prison population. And finally, legal aid. The report notes a decline in volunteer participation. The number of paralegal volunteers who play a crucial role in aiding the justice process has decreased by 38%. To strengthen India's justice system, there is a need for tangible incentives. For example, states should be rewarded for demonstrating improvements in judicial vacancies, police training, or prison rehabilitation programs for long-term sustainability across the country. So, across the board, be it police, judiciary, prisons, or legal aid, the India Justice Report points to deep-rooted structural inefficiencies. And if left unaddressed, these could only widen the existing inequalities in access to justice.
In a significant step to combat child trafficking, the Supreme Court has issued a set of crucial guidelines aimed at accelerating justice and strengthening child protection mechanisms across the country. These directions were issued in the case of Pinky versus State of Uttar Pradesh, where the Supreme Court directed all high courts to ensure that child trafficking trials are completed within 6 months, with regular progress reports. The court also highlighted a serious concern: the low conviction rate in such cases. It identified key reasons behind this, including easy bail for traffickers, hostile witnesses, and delays in the trial processes. But what is child trafficking? It refers to the recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of a child for labor, begging, sexual, and other forms of exploitation. Key factors contributing to child trafficking include poverty, child marriages, and displacement due to disasters. According to the NCRB 2022 report, 8 children were trafficked every day in India in 2021. Constitutionally, Article 23 prohibits trafficking in human beings and forced labor. India is also a signatory to global conventions such as the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, or CRC 1989, and the Hague Convention on Protection of Children and Cooperation in Inter-Country Adoption 1993. Moving forward, other key directions by SC to address the issue include: focus on improving the reporting of such crimes. It ordered that all cases involving missing children must be treated as abduction or trafficking, unless proven otherwise. Moreover, it made it mandatory for the police or anti-human trafficking units to report every case of human trafficking. Alongside improved reporting, the Supreme Court has also emphasized the need to strengthen child protection systems. It directed every state to create a state-level anti-human trafficking bureau in their respective capitals. Furthermore, it called for the establishment and enhancement of child welfare committees in every district. The court also mandated regular inspections of hazardous industries, urging strict action against violators. In addition, it recommended the setting up of child-friendly courts to support child victims, citing successful models already in place in Telangana and West Bengal. To further support these efforts, the court underlined the importance of improving victim support systems. It encouraged the promotion of community policing and stressed the need for better coordination with NGOs for rescue operations, rehabilitation efforts, and awareness campaigns. Now, turning to the measures already in place to prohibit child trafficking, India has a robust legal framework addressing this issue. The Juvenile Justice Act of 2015 plays a central role in protecting and rehabilitating trafficked or vulnerable children. Complementing this is the POCSO Act of 2012, which protects children from sexual abuse through child-friendly procedures. Additionally, the Child and Adolescent Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act of 1986, commonly known as the QpiAI Act, bans the employment of children under 14 years and prohibits hazardous work for adolescents aged between 14 and 18. To support rehabilitation, the National Child Labour Project or NCLP implements district-level programs focused on child labourers. And ensuring the enforcement of both the QpiAI Act and the NCLP scheme is the Pencil Portal, a key digital tool in this fight. With these new judicial directions and existing legal measures working in tandem, India is moving toward a more robust system to eliminate child trafficking and ensure justice for its youngest victims.
Moving ahead, on the occasion of World Quantum Day celebrated on April 14th, Indian startup QpiAI, which has been selected under the National Quantum Mission, unveiled one of the most powerful quantum computers in the country. The system, named QpiAI Indus, is a 25-qubit superconducting quantum computer and is India's first full-stack quantum computing platform. This means it integrates advanced quantum hardware, scalable control systems, and optimized software to support hybrid computing. Truly a major stride in our scientific capabilities. Now let's understand the larger framework that made this possible. The National Quantum Mission, which runs from 2023 to 2031. Its primary aim is to scale up scientific and industrial R&D to build an innovative ecosystem in the field of quantum technology. The mission is being implemented by the Department of Science and Technology under the Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India. The mission has been structured around 4 thematic hubs: quantum computing, quantum communications, sensing and metrology, and materials and devices. Each hub is dedicated to a key domain in quantum research and development, with the broader goal of establishing India as a global leader in quantum innovation. Now, let's talk about the mission's key objectives. It aims to establish a quantum communication network with secure, high-bandwidth infrastructure spanning over 2,000 kilometers using intercity quantum key distribution or QKD. Another critical goal is to develop quantum computers with a processing power ranging from 50 to 1,000 qubits. The mission also focuses on creating magnetometers and atomic clocks for highly precise measurements in magnetic fields and timekeeping. Additionally, there is a strong push toward quantum materials design, essential for cutting-edge device fabrication. To truly appreciate this development, let's briefly understand what makes quantum computing revolutionary. This allows quantum computers to solve complex problems that are far beyond the capabilities of traditional computers. Unlike classical computing, which uses bits that represent either 0 or 1, quantum computing uses qubits, quantum bits that can exist in a superposition of both 0 and 1 states simultaneously. The foundation of quantum computing rests on 3 key principles. Superposition, where systems exist in multiple states at once. Entanglement, where quantum particles are interconnected such that the state of one instantly affects the other. and interference, where quantum states interact in a way that enhances correct outcomes and minimizes errors. So, why is this important for India? This advancement positions India alongside the United States, China, and France in the rapidly evolving world of quantum technologies. It opens doors to ultra-secure communication through quantum networks, facilitates advanced drug and chemical research via accurate molecular modeling, and boosts the development of AI and machine learning by optimizing massive data sets. Moreover, it is set to revolutionize manufacturing with more accurate design processes and lower prototyping and testing costs. In a sense, this launch is not just a technological milestone. It marks a decisive step toward placing India at the forefront of global quantum innovation.
In a significant move that could reshape the global tech landscape, China has retaliated to US tariffs by restricting the exports of rare earth elements or REEs. Now, why is this important? Well, China's dominance in the REE sector and the critical role these elements play in modern electronics and semiconductor industries make this restriction a powerful lever in global trade. Analysts are already calling it the weaponization of trade by China. So what exactly are REEs? Rare earth elements are a set of 17 lustrous, silvery white, soft heavy metals on the periodic table. Examples include cerium, yttrium, and europium. Though these elements are found abundantly in the Earth's crust, they're difficult to extract because they're not available in concentrated form. Their applications span a wide range: defense systems like radars, electronics such as computers, industrial catalysts, metal alloys, and clean energy technologies including solar panels and wind turbines. Let's now take a look at their global distribution. China leads the chart with reserves of 44 million tons, followed by Vietnam, Brazil, Russia, and India, which holds about 6.9 million tons. But the real edge for China lies not just in reserves but in production. It accounts for more than two-thirds of global output and controls over 85% of the global REE supply chain. This dominance stems from its technical capabilities in processing and extraction. So what happens when China restricts these exports? First, there's a disruption of global supply chains. Industries like electric vehicles and electronics could face immediate shortages. Second, there's a direct hit to defense industries. Elements like dysprosium and yttrium are essential in manufacturing fighter jets, missiles, and drones. How is India responding to reduce its dependence on China for these crucial materials? The country is taking several key steps. 1. It is working to exploit its domestic rare earth reserves. For example, the public sector undertaking, Indian Rare Earths Limited, plans to increase its production of REEs by 400% by the year 2032. India is focusing on collaborations and technology development. Notably, India and the US signed the Trust Initiative in February 2025, following the Mineral Security Partnership or MSP of 2023, to deepen cooperation in REE development. The Indian government has amended mining laws to encourage greater private sector participation in the strategic sector.
Moving ahead, we bring you a significant update from the global health landscape. Member states of the World Health Organization or WHO have concluded negotiations on the draft pandemic agreement. This draft was finalized by the Intergovernmental Negotiating Body or INB, which was established by the World Health Assembly back in 2021. Now, you may ask, what was the INB tasked with? Well, its main responsibility was to draft and negotiate a convention that would strengthen global pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response. And now that this task is complete, the draft agreement is set to be submitted to the World Health Assembly in May for further consideration. Moving on, let's take a closer look at what the WHO Pandemic Agreement is all about. The objective of this agreement is clear: to prevent, prepare for, and respond to pandemics. Some of the key provisions of the treaty include: first, pandemic prevention and surveillance, which involves conducting risk assessments of emerging pathogens. Second, it adopts a One Health approach, recognizing the interconnection between people, animals, plants, and their shared environment. Third, it ensures the transfer of technology and related knowledge with a focus on making licenses available on a transparent basis, especially for the benefit of developing countries. And fourth, it emphasizes access and benefit sharing, which would be facilitated through the establishment of a WHO pathogen access and benefit sharing system. Now, why exactly there is a need for such an agreement? The answer lies in our recent experiences. For instance, the uncoordinated responses during the COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the urgent need for a global framework. In addition, it is essential for global collaboration so that all sectors of society are better prepared and protected. Another important goal is to ensure equity in access to essential tools like vaccines, personal protective equipment, and diagnostics. And finally, the agreement aims to support sustainable finance by mobilizing and allocating funding for preparedness, response, and health system strengthening. Before we wrap up, let's briefly touch upon the existing framework for handling pandemics. Currently, we have the International Health Regulations or IHR 2005, which serve as the overarching legal framework defining countries' rights and obligations during public health events and emergencies. The IHR includes all 194 WHO member states, as well as Liechtenstein and the Holy See. Originally adopted in 1969, the IHR initially covered just 6 infectious diseases. However, they have been revised numerous times to eventually include almost all trans-border public health risks, whether biological, chemical, or radiological.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. 6th edition of exercise Dust Lake started in Pune, Maharashtra. It is a yearly joint military exercise event conducted alternatively in India and Uzbekistan. The year 2025 marks the 150 years of the Bombay Stock Exchange. Established as the Native Share and Stockbrokers Association in 1875, it is Asia's first and world's fastest stock exchange. In 2017, BSE became the first listed stock exchange of India. Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas has awarded 28 blocks under Open Acreage Licensing Policy or OLAP Round 9. OLAP was introduced under the Hydrocarbon Exploration and Licensing Policy, which was unveiled in 2016, replacing the new Exploration Licensing Policy. RBI has decided not to activate the Counter-Cyclical Capital Buffer or CCYB. This will ensure uninterrupted credit flow to key sectors and avoid a slowdown in GDP growth. CCYB was introduced by RBI in 2015 under Basel III but never used so far. CBI launched Operation Chakra 5 against transnational organized cybercrime or digital arrests. Earlier Operation Chakra 4 was initiated by CBI to combat organized cyber-enabled financial crime networks through a globally coordinated law enforcement response leveraging Interpol channels. As per IMD 2025, Southwest monsoon seasonal June to September rainfall is likely to remain above normal at 105% of LPA with a margin of plus minus 5%. Long period average or LPA of rainfall is the rainfall recorded over a particular region for a given interval averaged over a long period. A recent study shows Surat Emission Trading Scheme or ETS reduced pollution by 20 to 30% and cut compliance costs for industries. Surat ETS was launched in Gujarat, Surat in 2019, and it is the world's first ever market for trading in particulate matter emissions. Researchers have tested the real-time lamp or loop-mediated isothermal amplification or RT-lamp method for early and accurate diagnosis of tuberculosis. RT-lamp is an open platform system for TB diagnosis. Google recently launched its 7th generation Tensor Processing Unit or TPU called Ironwood, designed to enhance performance of AI models. TPU is a specialized processor or application-specific integrated circuit developed by Google in 2015, specifically optimized for machine learning and AI tasks.
Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solutions through the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.